In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful and simple dress. So you can either rock it to work or just for casual outing, anything goes for the dress. I'll be showing both the drafting, the cutting and the sewing process of this dress in this video. In case you're seeing my channel for the very first time, please subscribe, join the family. You're welcome back to TB Okuto channel, and without further ado, let's get into the video. On the table I have 3 yards of material that I'm going to be managing for the dress, and I also have the basic bodice block which I'm quickly going to be working some manipulations on before starting to illustrate the dress proper. And the very first thing I'm going to do is to eliminate the waist dart because I have excess at the waist. So I'm going to go in with the excesses I have at the waist and remove the excesses so that it will give me the exact waist measurement of the owner of this dress. And afterwards, what I'm going to do is to extend the length of the bodies. What I presently have is my shoulder to hip measurement. So what I'm going to do is to extend the length beyond the hip measurement to give me the exact length of the dress. This is just what I'm doing. Once I was done with extending the length of the dress, the next thing I did was to highlight the bodies, both the front and back bodies, with my marker so that we'll be able to see it clearly. So I have my bodies ready to be manipulated to the dress style that I want, and the very first thing I did was to add a pattern paper to the front bodies of my pattern. What I want to use the pattern paper to do is, because I needed a dart at that very angle is where my finger is, so I'm going to extend the side front by 2 inches. 2 inches is 5 centimeters in centimeters, because presently I have a dartless bodies and I want a little bit of shape at the bust area. So I'm going to be adding a bust dart at this very side. I came down by 6 centimeters from the armhole, and what I did was to find my nipple to nipple or my bust point, marked it. From that very bust point, I went out again by 4 centimeters because I don't want the dart to touch my bust point. So I went out by 4 centimeters, which is 1.5 inches, and I connected to the 6 centimeters I first marked underneath the armhole. Then I took what I added at the hem line to my dart. So what I have at my dart presently is 2 inches, which was what I added at the hem line. Once I fold the dart, I will have exact measurements of my gown length. I hope you understand that. And the next thing, I went ahead to label my bodies just to know the difference between the front and the back bodies. Then from the hip at the back bodies, I came down by 4 centimeters. This is where the flounce or the frill or the circle will be starting from. I went down by 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters is 1.5 inches. And for the front part, I won't be going down by 4 centimeters. I'll be going down by more centimeters or more inches because of the dart I added at the side. So I'm going to add what I have at my dart, which is 5 centimeters, 2 inches, plus the 4 centimeters, 1.5 inches at the back side, and I'm going to go down by 9 centimeters. 9 centimeters is 3.5 inches. So for the front line, I went down by 9 centimeters, which is 3.5 inches. I did this because we know there is already excess at the front, and to cut the excess or to reduce the excess, I don't need to go down by the same exact measurement. If I measure what I have from the 4 centimeters at the back to the hem line, and from the 9 centimeters at the front to the hemline, I have exact length. Once I close my dart at the bust area, I will have exact length of the side front and the side back matching each other. From the center back along the line at the hemline, I came inward by 1 inch. 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. I just want to do a little bit of penciling or of tightening the lower part of the dress This is not compulsory if you don't want. And the next thing I did, from the side front to where I penciled, I came in and I deducted 7 to 8 inches to get my curve line. You can also measure from where you penciled inward by 3 inches. 3 inches is 7.5 centimeters. You can come in from where you penciled inward and connect whatever you measured at the hemline to the 4 centimeters, 1.5 inches I measured below the hip line for the side back. For the side front to the center front, I also came in by 8 inches from the side front towards the center front by 20 centimeters, which is 8 inches, and I connected from that angle to the hip line where I came down by 9 centimeters, 9 centimeters, 3.5 inches. And what I did next was to label in order for me to know my front piece from my back piece after cutting it out. I'm going to be cutting out from these edges I just marked with my red markers. The next thing I did, from the neck point, I came in along the shoulder line by 2 centimeters. You can do 0.5 inches, and I connected directly to the basic neck. I did not touch the neck depth at all. I only touched the neck width, which is along the shoulder line, came in by 2 centimeters for both front and the back neck width at the shoulder line, then connected directly to the neck depth for both front and back bodies. And afterwards, what I did was just to cut out the pattern for us to see the actual design clearly. Creating this pattern is very simple, easy, and straightforward in case you want to create it, and you can easily freestyle, also add a little bit of your own touch of design to it. So here is what the pattern looks like after cutting it out, and I'm going to be closing the bust dart for us to see what I explained earlier, that after closing your bust dart, the side seam, that is the side front and the side back, is going to align perfectly, just like the way you're seeing in the video. You can see everything aligned together. Once I'm done with this, the next thing I'll be doing is to join what I cut out for the back piece and for the front piece together with my masking tape. I'm going to be joining them together with my masking tape, and I went in to measure what I have for the arc at the front and also what I have for the arc at the back. I just noted them down because I'm going to be using them later on in the video. So after getting these, I'm going to explain to us the methods in which you can use to achieve the arc roundness to get excess. So you can use the gathers method, in which you add up what I measured earlier for both fronts and back together, and you can multiply this by either 2 or by 3 or even by more, depending on how much fabric you have left. And you can use the circular method. By using the circular method, you can use it as a flounce, as a frill. I have a video of this on my channel, which I'm going to be linking in the description box. You can use that similar method for this style. Then the last one is the slash spread method. This helps you to control how much excess you will have in case you don't have enough fabric, which was what I eventually went for in this video after going round and round when I discovered my fabric was not enough. The very first thing I'm going to do is to cut out the front piece. I will fold the fabric into two, place my pattern on it, pin down, then add all my necessary seam allowances around the bodies and cut off with my fabric scissors. I will go ahead to notch my darts at the bust. For the back piece, I'm going to be cutting in 2 pieces because of the zip that will be added at the back. So I'm going to be adding also my zip seam allowance for the back piece. And the next thing to cut is the lower part of the dress. And at this point, I was just thinking about how I was going to cut the lower part of the dress because I discovered the fabric was not enough. I tried cutting it out through the circular method, through the gathers method. After I discovered the material was not going to be enough for the lower part of the dress, and I decided to use the slash and spread method because this is going to give me control over the volume I will be adding to the dress. Using circular or gathers method might limit me in some ways, but I find slash and spread so comfortable in this kind of situation. Whenever my fabric is not enough for something that I want to make, I usually use slash and spread if the need for volume is needed. So I just opted for slash and spread. But if you know how to manage fabric using circular or gathers method, you can use this method to achieve your own lower part of the dress. So what I went ahead to do is to divide the pattern piece into different columns using 2 inches to separate each of the lines. And after dividing them, I went in to number them from 1 to a certain number, and I indicated my back piece using my BBB, and I indicated my front piece using my FFF. What I did next was to fold the fabric into 2 equal parts so that I can have 2 OPs separately for one side of the dress and for the other side of the dress. And I also went in to divide my pattern piece into 2. The next thing I did was to start cutting off this pattern piece along the lines or along the column that I divided them into. But unfortunately, after checking the video, my camera did not capture this very aspect of slash and spread. So I'm just going to be explaining it with my mouth. The very first thing I did, like I said earlier, was to separate this pattern piece in between the lines I marked on the pattern paper, and this was how it was before I went in to cut it apart and separate it into pieces. After separating the pattern piece, I went ahead to put them in lines like so, using 2 centimeter division at the upper side and 5 centimeters division at the lower part. 2 centimeters is 0.5 inches, while 5 centimeters is 2 inches. This was what I used to give volume to the dress. Also, at the lower part, I went down by some inches just to give the hem line a little bit of length. You can also use your gathers method. I think it will be more simpler using gathers method, and you can use circular method too. Whichever one you find convenient or comfortable, you can just go ahead to use it. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing right now is to go ahead to sew this outfit to make it a whole piece. The very first thing I'm going to be sewing is the dart. So I'm going ahead to remove my pin and to chalk down where the dart area is so that I can hold it. That is the bust dart. This is the very first thing that I need to sew, because sewing this dart will make my side seam for the front and back aligned together. After sewing the dart, what I'm going to be sewing is the shoulder. I'm going to be sewing the front piece and the back piece at the shoulder line to sew them also together. I will go ahead to secure it with my serger to make it look neat, because this is a ready to wear outfit. It does not need any lining, and I'll be coming back to show us. So here it is. I'm done sewing the bust darts at both sides of the front piece, and I've also gone ahead to sew both shoulders together. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to attach my sleeve to it. It did not show us the cutting of the sleeve because it's a basic sleeve, and I have how to draft your basic sleeve pattern on my channel, which I'm going to be linking below. I will go ahead to pin sleeves together, then go in to sew the sleeves like so, and also to sew the side seams. This is what I have after sewing the sleeves and the side seams together. And the next thing I'm going to be sewing is the lower part of this dress. I'm going to be attaching the lower part of this dress, and I will go ahead to remove my paper or pattern piece from the fabric itself. And the first thing I did was to hold both edges of the lower part with the main dress together for me to be able to distribute the little excesses I added at the edge. So I'm going to pin them together at the hemline first, then go in gradually with the little gathers I have to gather it in. And as I'm doing this, I'm also pinning it down at the same time, so it will be more easier when I'm about sewing it in permanently into the dress. So this is what I'm going to do for the whole side, and I'm also going to go ahead at the other side, pin them together just like I did for the first side, then take it to my sewing machine to sew both sides together and also secure both sides with my serger for neatness. This is what I have after sewing both sides of this dress together. It's looking very beautiful, if I can say that. Then the next thing I'm going to fix is my invisible zip, because I want it to look exactly like ready to wear. I went in with my interfacing or my stay at that very edge where I'm going to be attaching my zip to, so to prevent bulginess. And then I cut out a bias tape from the same fabric which I'm going to be using to turn the neckline. Once I'm done fixing the zip and sewing the neckline, the whole piece will be complete. This is what I have after going in to sew the zip, fixed the neckline, and it came out just like I envisaged. And the dress looks so smooth and silky on her body. The lower part of the bodice dropped just the way I imagined. It was bouncing just like the way I wanted it to bounce, if I can use the word. You can try out this dress and send me a picture of what you came out with. Please leave your thoughts and your review below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this very video to the end. And please, if you're watching my video for the very first time, please subscribe, join the family, give it a thumbs up. See you next time. Bye bye.